Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to The Edward. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I will be doing my episode review and recap for the season finale of AMC's Fear the Walking Dead. Now before I go on, of course, as usual with all of my review videos, this will be full of big spoilers regarding the season finale of this show. So if you are not caught up on Fear the Walking Dead, if you're behind an episode or two episodes, don't keep watching or listening to this video, as I will be going into big spoilers after everything that's gone down tonight. It's yikes. So you have been warned. That being said, bravo. I mean, wow, what a great episode this was. In fact, you know what? I was talking about this to my family after we were done watching it, and I told them I think this was the best Fear the Walking Dead episode yet. And I really liked the pilot, and I really liked the second episode. But wow, this one really hit me on so many levels. It had tons of great stuff. I mean, it had the elements of a zombie movie or a zombie show you could ask for. It had great action sequences, plenty of walker kills, character conflict and drama, heartbreaking choices, brutality and survival kicking in. This was a fantastic episode. I'd have to say this is probably my favorite episode of Fear the Walking Dead so far. This is probably my favorite episode of the series, and definitely of the season. Because you guys know me. I really liked the pilot, the premiere episode, and I love the second episode. But wow, this one was great. So basically to let you know where we left off, military has left the neighborhood, and our main characters have decided to go off and rescue their friends. Daniel and Ophelia want to get Griselda back, even though they don't know that she is spoiler dead, that they put her down in the previous episode. Madison wants to get her son back, and she's taking her family with them. So everybody's leaving, and there's an interesting moment when they're all piled in the car, and they're all driving out of the neighborhood, and Madison looks out the window of the car, and she sees a family sitting inside their house, sitting at the dining room table having dinner or playing a board game or something, but they all look relatively happy, calm, peaceful. And it's like she's looking at them like they have no idea that nobody is coming, no help is coming. We're on our own from here on out. I think this is the episode where it finally sets in, where these characters realize we're on our own. There's no more help coming. The government isn't coming. The National Guard isn't coming. Nobody is coming for us anymore. Everything has fallen to shit. We're on our own. We need to take care of ourselves. And that's exactly what they do. And this was such a genius move, and I can't believe I didn't see it coming. Daniel goes to the arena where the soldier whom he was torturing says that there were over 2,000 walkers locked up. He leads this massive herd of walkers to the military hospital to distract the National Guard so he and his allies can break in and find their friends. And there's this great shot of like the camera slowly lifts off the ground and shows the two soldiers on the sentry tower, just taking out the wave after wave of walkers. But there's just so many more coming. There's tons and tons more. And Daniel has this great little line that he quips to the soldiers when they're like, don't make me shoot you, old man. Restricted area. Don't make me shoot you. Save your ammunition. And then he signals to what's behind him, and it's just like this just massive herd of walkers. In fact, I think the reason that we haven't seen so many walkers in these past 3 or 2 episodes is for that very scene. This final scene. This final episode of the season, and we just get a stream of 2,000 walkers, and there's just so many of them. And this was a great plan. The plan is distract the National Guard so they can break in and get their friends out. Leave the kids behind with the SUV. We'll be right back. If we're not back in a half hour, get the hell out of here. Meanwhile, inside, Liza is trying to secure her safe passage for herself and her son. But, she's not getting anywhere with the army doctor, who's struggling to get the medevac situated for her staff, herself, and all of these stable patients. Everybody's infection free. There aren't any more infected patients or dead people. These are all stable, recovering patients, and she's trying to get a medevac. Unfortunately, the helicopter that was supposed to be their medevac turns around in midair when it sees that the base is under attack. They see that the base is compromised and it's just being overrun with thousands of walkers, and the military's being overrun. They just take off, abandoning them. It's like total abandonment right in front of them. And you can see how devastated the doctor is when she realizes this. She tells Liza to run, save herself. She tells her staff the same thing, and she says she'll take care of the patients. Uh-oh. But overall, this episode was just so good. And Strand and Nick make their escape as they struggle to escape through, the building, the warehouse that they're in, or whatever it is. The walkers breach the fences. They overrun all of the soldiers. Oh God! And there's this one, really, a great death scene. This soldier runs into the helicopter blade to kill himself because he's been bitten on the soldier on the shoulder, and it's just horrifies and appalls Madison. She's like, it's like it's such sheer brutality and gore, and it's like it completely throws her off guard, while the rest of her friends are like, come on, let's go. And so now all of our characters are split up. Liza is trying to figure out what the hell to do. She's caught in the middle of all of this carnage and chaos. And, actually, I think she might have been the one who witnessed the helicopter beheading, or not. But anyway, she's just caught in all this confusion and chaos, trying to figure out what the hell to do, where to go. And our main characters are en route to our other characters, Nick and Liza, not knowing where they are. Oh, and Travis decided to trust the torture soldier, probably because he felt sorry for him after what Daniel did to him by slicing up his arm. He let him go, but he assures his allies that the soldier told him where to find their friends. And so he let him go because they both knew that Daniel would have most likely kill him as soon as they had recovered both Nick, Liza, and Griselda. Or Griselle, excuse me. So so now our heroes are in the main building, and Nick and Strand are trying to avoid soldiers and walkers, but they get themselves cornered in quite a few areas. They stumble upon one of the dead soldiers, the same soldier whom Strand had bribed with his fancy cufflinks and a ring. He gets his stuff back from him and then takes his pistol, grabs Nick, and then they dart out of there. Because at first I thought, oh my God, what a douchebag. This guy's abandoning Nick. Nope. He just hopped over the railing to grab the gun, grabs Nick, and they both start running. Unfortunately, when the doors close behind them, it can only be activated with one of those key cards. So if they need to get out, they can't, and they find themselves trapped. And so our main characters get to like the holding area where they release the rest of the prisoners, or that's what we're calling them, all of the refugees who are there, and they tell them, oh yeah, because Madison starts asking about her son. She describes him, the woman's like, yeah, the kid and the black guy took off and they left us all behind. It's like, okay, so they got out, so let's go. And they let all the people out, and everybody just starts running everywhere. None of our characters really take the time or the courtesy to say, oh, by the way, everybody, the front is completely overrun with walkers, so you might want to avoid that area. But nope, everybody just takes off. Of course, in the heat of the moment, not to sound selfish, but you're really mostly thinking about yourself and your immediate family members and not the good of everybody else. Some people do, but not our main characters yet, because they're all still in that, I got to protect my own family first. They keep running around, and they can't find their friends. They find Liza, and who has the unpleasant responsibility of informing Ophelia and Daniel that Griselle is dead, that she could not be saved. The infection took her, and there was nothing they could do. And Daniel takes it surprisingly pretty well. It's as if he knew this was a possibility, but he didn't want to accept it. Ophelia does not take it as well. I mean, it's her mother. Of course she shouldn't take it that well. But, between the two of them, I'm surprised Daniel took it as well as he did, since he went to such extremes to learn information about where his wife was by torturing that poor soldier. So, and then meanwhile, to make matters worse, Chris and Alicia are waiting for our heroes to return. And when they think walkers are passing by, they hide in their SUV. But it turns out to be a couple of National Guard soldiers who basically force the keys off of Alicia, and one of them kind of, tries to flirt with her, hit on her, and Chris gets his ass kicked slightly. Well, he doesn't get his ass kicked, but he does get punched a couple of times. And the soldiers, one of them actually offers to allow the two kids to come with them, but they won't leave without their family. So they take the keys, and we don't see what happens after that. Like, great. So did they leave? Did they abandon Lisa and Chris and take the SUV? We don't know. So, meanwhile, Nick and Strand are now trapped in this hallway with all of these walkers coming at them with nothing but their 9mm pistol that Strand took off this National Guard soldier. And he's not a very good shot. He does hit like one or two walkers, but he's not a very good shot. So he's no marksman. He may be a suave, confident guy, but he's no marksman. Not yet, at least. I'm sure that'll change next year in the second season. But, it's like, oh, God, they're going to get ripped apart. And fortunately, that's when the rest of our characters show up. They start banging on the doors, but they can't get the doors open because they don't have a key card. And then, Nick, who realizes that all hope is probably lost, just mouths through the little window to his mom. And she's like, no, Nick. And the walkers just keep getting closer and closer to Nick and Strand. And both of them realize their time has probably come. But fortunately, thank God, Liza shows up, who still has her key card. And after swiping it repeatedly, finally the light turns green, the door opens, and then they're able to... they're able to get Strand and Nick out, and then they all run away together with the walkers in pursuit. Whew, that was an intense scene right there. Because for a while there, I thought, oh my God, they're going to kill off Nick and Strand. And Strand is a new character who is proving to be a really interesting, mysterious guy who has, some questionable survival tendencies, but he's proving to be an interesting character. But at the same time, it's like, oh my God, they're going to kill them both. Oh no, okay, they're okay. Because earlier in the episode when those two close the doors behind him and you see the little key card thing turn red, it's like, great, the only person who can open that is someone who has a key card. Oh, I bet Liza will probably save their lives at the last minute or something. And sure enough, she did. She was able to get them all out of there. So finally, our characters are reunited, but they have to make it through like this maze of rooms and halls throughout this whole building till they finally get outside of the building itself. And, they have a couple of close calls, some great close-up walker kills for most of our characters. Madison and Travis have a couple close calls, but they're saved by either Strand or Nick, who come to their aid. And, they're figuring out that the headshot is the kill shot, and, they've got guns and some blunt instruments. But, there's some close-up walker kills. Very exciting scenes they were, very exciting scenes. So finally our characters are reunited for the most part. They get out of there, and sure enough, it's a new day. So they spent like all night trying to get out of that building, and they finally get outside, and it's morning. And they're on the other side of the base because where Daniel had led the massive herd of walkers was like on the north end of the base, and they were able to sneak in on the south side, so they were able to avoid most of the walkers and soldiers. When they get to the garage, though, they start to panic when the SUV isn't there, but fortunately, Chris and Alicia were hiding in a closet nearby a utility room, and they explain to the others that, yeah, these National Guard soldiers took our SUV. It's like, well, that's okay, we're all together now, that's what matters. Uh-oh, who emerges out of the darkness? It's the soldier with the cut-up arm, and he's got a gun, and he's aimed it directly at Daniel. And you can tell that he is pissed. I mean, let's face it, who wouldn't be? This guy was just tortured for literally no good reason because, well, I mean, it was partially for a good reason. I'm not trying to justify the torture, but at the same time, it's like Daniel really went all out on this guy and just sliced up his arm, and he's threatening to shoot Daniel, and it's a standoff situation. Travis is like trying to keep an eye on him and circling around him, probably to charge him when he gets a chance. But Daniel tries to keep his daughter away, but Ophelia's like, Andy, put the gun down, put the gun down. And you can tell, like, this guy's got nothing but raw hatred in his eyes for Daniel. And he seemed like a pretty good guy up until this point. And this is probably him hitting his breaking point. So he's about to shoot Daniel, but then all of a sudden you can tell by the look on his face, if I actually want to hurt this son of a bitch, I'm going to kill his daughter and not him. Because if I kill her and he's left standing, he'll be left in agony the way I was left in agony when he tortured me. So he shoots Ophelia, and we don't know right away if it's a kill shot or not, but Daniel's like, no! After he shoots Ophelia, Travis tackles him, gets the gun out of his hand, and starts beating him to a pulp repeatedly with both fists. He's like, duh, 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 duh. And the others just kind of watch in awe, and well, not like oh, that's cool, just like in shock and just complete and utter shock and terror, basically, because they're watching this usually sensible, reasonable man just beat the hell out of this soldier, and he beats his face in pretty good, and his fists get covered in blood. And it reminded me of that scene from The Patriot where Mel Gibson's character just goes all ape shit on the British soldier with the tomahawk, and he just starts cutting him up, and he gets blood all over him, and his sons watch in just complete shock, like, whoa, Dad, chill out. And that's what this scene kind of reminded me of. But fortunately, they all get out of there, and they have enough vehicles to, and Ophelia is alive. All she took was a shoulder shot, which makes you wonder if Andy meant to actually kill her, or if his aim was off, or if he just wanted to injure her, but really injure her father the way her father had injured him. So, but we don't know. They leave Andy behind because I don't think Travis kills him. He just beats the hell out of him quite a bit. And you can see now Travis is starting to, go down that path. Not necessarily that path of darkness, but he's going down that path where it's hard to come back from after you've done so many things. You can only get away with so much shit in the apocalypse before you can return to your formal self. But he really can't do that. So finally, we get out of the city. They go to Strand's place, who has a place on the ocean side. They get their super nice house. This guy is pretty luxurious. He welcomes them in. Liza tends to Ophelia, takes care of her shoulder. She's going to be fine. She's going to be all right. It's just a shoulder shot. And the bullet must have gone through. Otherwise, they would have said something like, oh, we have to get the bullet out of there. So it's just a shoulder shot. So she'll be okay. She'll live. And Daniel's obviously grateful to her. And there's this nice moment where, Madison notices how she's starting to tear up. Not Madison, but Liza's starting to tear up as she hugs Chris, saying, I love you, Christopher. And Madison's like, I wonder why she's getting so emotional all of a sudden. Meanwhile, Nick, who questions Strand what the next move is, keeps asking him about this woman that Strand mentioned earlier, Abigail, but it's actually not a woman. It's his big-ass yacht that he has out there just like a mile offshore that's, I'm assuming it's just floating out there. Hopefully the tide doesn't take it all the way out to sea, but he has a nice yacht out there, and that's where he wants to go. That's where our characters are going to go, presumably. But then Madison follows Liza down to the beach because she's wondering why she's acting so weird, and when she confronts her, it turns out big old nasty bite wound right on her side. And she begs Madison not to let Travis do it because it would break him if he had to kill his own wife. And she certainly doesn't want Chris to do it. So she begs Madison to kill her and hands her a 9mm. But before she can do anything, fortunately, Travis, who had followed Madison down there, wondering what's going on with his girlfriend and his ex-wife, she reveals to him what happened to her. And she's absolutely right. It does break him. It just completely destroys him. I mean, this woman, yeah, they ended their relationship, but she is the mother of his son, the mother of his child. And, obviously they may not like each other that much, but he still feels bad enough where he starts to break down when he realizes the awful reality that's about to set in and hit him. It's like, oh my God, we have to kill her because there's no way to cure this. I mean, and she tells him right off the bat that the infection is incurable, and no matter how you die, as she observed in the military hospital, no matter how you die, you will come back. You will always come back. So at least she relays that information to our characters before passing. And sure enough, Alicia and Chris are enjoying a lollipop on the patio. Strand and Nick are looking at the yacht, and they all react to this gunshot. And Chris and Alicia run down to the beach, and sure enough, the next scene is Travis is just bawling his eyes out, bent down in the sand on the beach with the water coming at him, with poor Chris cradling his dead mother's body in his lap, and he's just crying his eyes out. And this was like this was like the breaking of Travis, I guess, if you want to call it that. His spirit is broken. He was forced to kill his ex-wife, and now his son will probably resent him for that when he realizes that his father killed his mother. Even though there was nothing they could do for her, there'll probably be some tension in the beginning of next season between those two characters. But yeah, overall, wow, a hell of an episode. Great season finale, and I'm looking forward to season 2, which will probably debut sometime around the same time this show premiered, which would have been late August, and it'll be late August of 2016, so stay tuned for that. Also, don't forget to tune in next Sunday for the return of our favorite show, The Walking Dead, Season 6 on AMC, so stay tuned for that, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in here on The Edward for all of your recap and review needs. I hope you enjoyed the season finale of Fear the Walking Dead as much as I did. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video, leave your thoughts and opinions and your feedback down below. What did you like about it? What do you think is in store for season 2? What was your favorite part? Were you shocked by Liza's sudden death? What did you think? Please sound off down below. I'd love to hear from everybody. Thanks again for tuning in here on The Edward, and have a great rest of the night, everybody. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.